Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the tangle Nonina from CZT Aide Rico. And I hope I pronounced that right, or at least close. All right, this is a neat tangle, and after I was looking at it, I realized, well, if you're following, each day, I was like, well, apparently I have a theme, an unintended theme, but somewhat of a theme nonetheless. All right, this one starts off with a dot grid. Now, I suppose you don't have to do the dot grid first, but I did find it easier. So I'm just gonna put three here, and now with that, it's offset. So you see, I put three dots. And then let's come down a little bit. I should do this. I should do this a lot bigger, but I'm not. So, like I said, offset. So you're like, whatever number however you have them separated here, just in between, and then in between again, right? I always had trouble with this kind of a grid. And then I'm like, oh, well, look at that. It's just, I think I was thinking too hard about it. Anyway, the next step is we're going to put X's on each of those dots. X marks the spot, right? I could probably be drawing these a bit smaller, but all the way my pen goes, it's I start one size and then it always changes. And the reason that I was saying that there seems to be a theme is because yesterday's we started off with a grid of crosses. This one is at least it's different in that it's X's instead of crosses. Okay, now from here, I decided mostly for me, but I did divide up the next step into two steps. So, because I had trouble seeing what she did. So, here's how I split it up. So, on these X's, and at least this one, we're doing everything the same. Where on tie that we did yesterday, we alternated some things. So, first off, make sure that we can all see. Yes. Yes. So, on the ends, and this, pick a direction to start. We're just going to put little straight lines. They don't have to be real long. And you could, if you want to, I just thought, this way you can see. Here's what we're doing. If you want to combine my steps 2 and 3 into one, go right ahead. And then it's going to be the same going in the opposite direction as well. I just found it easier to deal with doing it this way. Plus, when we're doing Zentangle, a lot of it is the repetition. And so it's doing the same stroke repeatedly, and then you move to the next stroke, and then you don't have to think much about it from there. So this kind of helps in that sense. And oddly, it's like going, oh, that looks kind of neat. Okay, then we're going to, finish that box. And if they're uneven, like that, don't worry about it. You can make that up. It's fine. And so what it looked like is that you could do all, like I said, all of those in one stroke. Up to you. I'm here to prove that that this tangle anyone can do it. You don't have to be exacting or anything, and it'll always look interesting. Okay. And then coming back, and hopefully you can kind of see where where the top of that X is, and you should be able to. And like I said, same thing. If you want to, just go ahead and box it off, you can. If you want to do all the sides on each X, it's up to you. And while I was feeling like this was, part of me was like, oh, this is going to take forever. Well, then again, I did do it. Oh, let's see. Well, after as the steps go, but I mean, I have 9 boxes on my step out, so I did this multiple times. But like I said, this is about the repetition. It's, we're just focusing on this is the one stroke this is all I'm responsible for right at this moment, and that's it. Okay, good. And then when we're done, then we can start back over at the top and finish all of those off. Could even just do like this, where you're doing rows. Because a lot of me wants to make sure that we remember that Zentangle was created as a way to teach meditation through art. I found both, and I think it's just a good thing to always remember. So I try to periodically remind us of that. Okay, and you see how I have a lot of varied shapes. Okay, next we're gonna go. So let me look at it this way. These new corners that we have, we're gonna connect. So from here to here, here to here, and don't worry about anything. It would have been nice if I, had it going kind of in a more of a diagonal, that one, but it is, oh, this one didn't turn out well. Yeah, not too bad. That's sort of a steppy sort of diagonal. It's going to be my new technical term. Yeah. And I suppose if you were to work, and actually I'm going to take these off the side here, just kind of an open-ended thing, just because I think it helps. Practicing this tangle and working to figure out, okay, at what point do I need to be real careful about, my sizes, so that way, maybe it would end up more of a diagonal. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And as I have mentioned before, a lot of the neat part of Zentangle is in the imperfection. And I know that some have, it's a challenge to embrace that, but I think it's a worthwhile pursuit for sure. Because a lot of times, especially, as you're going, it's like, just wait till it's all done, and then, make a decision on, if you like it or not. And then at that time, then you can decide, well, what do I want to do with this? I don't know. Well, how do I want to shade this? One way that I found, and this is basically it. I'm going to peek really quick. Do take a look at the For More Inspiration link. Yeah, because there's a couple of really neat samples on here. And one is kind of like, oh, good, that inspired me. It's okay to be a little wonky. Because what it turns out looking like is, and she did this in a Zendala. You could look at it as a rustic stained glass, or kind of like cobblestoney type of a floor or something. Very rustic is what we'll go with. And so for shading, let's see, actually, it doesn't matter which way I'm turning it. I'm going to just put some graphite. Actually, I'm just going to start here on these. I'm thinking to go underneath all of that, almost like following the grid, as it were. But I'm also thinking, well, let's make the most of this rusticness that we have going on. And oh yeah, and there's another, a much more organized sample that I keep looking at. It, I'm like, is that the same thing? And it is. It just I think it is the angle that it's at is just very interesting. And where some of these, I mean, they look like stones, and I think that's what got me thinking on the lines of kind of cobblestone. Oops, lost my screen there. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna let's just do. We're gonna use what's left on the tortillon here, and just bring it all underneath. Why not? It's almost like we're creating a bit of a drop shadow. Yeah. And then, because I like to do that, I think it makes these look a little bit more like stones, sort of. Oh, whoever was yelling, you missed some. Thank you. Oh, yes, I like that. And so I don't know, it's just fun. And you might have some even better ideas on shading, and and even decorating, because I'm thinking, if you wanted to, you could probably put some other lines in there, actually, in the one sample. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I can't tell if it's lines, but it's definitely, and you just have to look at it. The way it's shaded is very, very neat. Very, very neat. So, interesting, neat tangle. And like I said, I prove that, we'll just call it rustic. It works. And I'm just looking to see, I mean, sometimes if you put it in a different, on a different angle, that can look kind of different. It's neat. It is neat indeed. All right, so hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'm feeling like I want to put a little, because that's where that original dot was. You could make them a little bigger if you wanted to, and I'm just feeling like I want to. If you enjoyed this, please click the like button. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, would love to have you be a subscriber, so you can click that while you're at it. Oh, that did something. Of course it did something. It added a little thickness in there. But interesting how just adding a little thickness here or there can affect things. So anyway, I hope that you become a subscriber to the channel. I mentioned the description section. You will find there links to the step outs. I always do my own version, and also link to the creator of the Tangle. And below that, ways to connect with me. So if you enjoy my goofy style, and I hope you do, I do classes twice weekly. And so there's information on my website about that, as well as ways to follow me so you can see when I post things. You can follow my blog, and where I post daily tangles and the class recaps, and eventually we'll post notices of classes coming up. I also have a link to my Facebook page, and if you'd like to hang out with a bunch of amazing Tangle addicts, we would love to hang out with you. There's a link to our private Facebook group. Know that there are, to gain entry to the group, there are like 3 membership questions that you have to answer in order to gain entry. So just so you're aware. And let's see. Oh, I didn't mention. I keep forgetting to mention. Most of the classes I do are free. A lot of them are free. Thursdays, free. and there's one Tuesday a month, that is. The other ones do have a fee. I also have a membership club, so just to make sure you are, because I'm not the greatest at remembering to mention it all the time. Um, but there is a membership club. You can check that information out on my website. If you have trouble finding anything, I think I have a form on there so you can email me. And yeah, with that, thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I wish you happy tangling.